Hello, this is Snigdhendu Bhattacharya. I recently went to Manipur to cover the elections for Outlook. And there I met Mr. Paojel Chaoba, a very senior journalist, and the executive editor of the Frontier Manipur. And here we have reconnected over to discuss the elections. So I will go straight to him and ask him, what do you make of the trends as of now? It's 1:15 now. And the trends have been more or less the same over the past 2 hours or so.
I mean, as we predicted, BJP has got a very good number right now because out of the 60 constituencies, counting is begun for 41. So as of present, they have got the lead in 21 assembly constituencies. INC is falling much way lower than predicted. They've got leads in only 3 assembly constituencies. NPP is doing a little bit better. They're up to 6 now. And ZDU, they have got leads in 2 constituencies. Surprisingly, NPF is coming up with 6 numbers in leading now. And for the others, there is one independent candidate. Another is the KPA, the Kuki People's Alliance. I think one KPA, they'll be getting a couple of seats in this election, 2022 elections, the KPA party.
The NPP and JDU has taken up significant vote shares this election also. So what do you make of this? The rise in apparent rise in at least as of now, the apparent rise in the vote share of JDU and NPP and the loss in Congress vote share.
See, the Congress has ruled for the 3 consecutive terms till 2017. They have had 15 long years. After the BJP came to power with a minority, that means like they had 21, they just won 21 seats in 2017, whereas Congress got 28 seats then. They could have formed a government then, but after the BJP came to power with their lesser numbers and with a coalition government, obviously most of the MPCC peoples, including the president, jumped ship. So I think there's been a big issue with defections, and most of the winning candidates from the Congress defected to the BJP. So that is one of the main issues, how BJP is getting such good numbers, because the BJP picked and chose those who are very capable of winning in their own seats, who are incumbents, and they have been like joining the BJP fold for quite some time.
Do you see any influence of these rebel groups in the results?
Yeah, I mean, that is quite evident because there was like you know Manipur, that we have got different ethnic communities here, a lot of them, but you can just subdivide it into 3 categories, like the Meiteis, the Nagas, and the Kukis. So we all have our own different organizations, and also the separatists also, and the Kuki has their own, the Tangkhul has their own, and the Bali people have their own also. Now there was a recent announcement from a very powerful group, the KANO, that they'll be supporting the BJP openly. That is led by the president, Mr. P.S. Hawkip, and there are other organizations in tow also from among the Kuki community who openly declares their support to BJP. Now, the Congress had in Jairam Ramesh, he had mentioned in a press conference that a huge amount of at least say like 15 plus crores were given to the Kuki rebel groups, which the BJP later
the government said that it was a backlog of stipend.
Right. But they could not explain the numbers also. Anyway, that's what they are doing. I mean, like, there will always be allegations and counter allegations, of course.
You have also followed how the political parties campaigned, how BJP campaigned, how the Congress campaigned, how the NPP campaigned, and how the JDU campaigned. What do you see the difference? Did you see any difference in the campaign, in their approach?
I think that every party has their own political campaigns, but in Manipur, as I say, that it also depends. on how you campaign in the hills, how you campaign in the valley. What tools do you use? How much money do you dole out? How much muscle you have? No. So the campaigning, I think, has been very different this time, because this is the first time that we have seen such an upscale of violent incidents, including several killings. And this is the first time that in Manipur we have seen violence up to this level. It's quite unfortunate. And most of the campaigning, I believe, are being done more on the sly, more by using money, more by using muscle power, and with free flow of alcohol and drugs, rather than, I mean, being in a giving the people their right to exercise their franchise. So I feel that lots of issues have cropped up this time, and there are several assembly constituencies like Wangjing, Tenta, Hairo, in the hills area, where people are not able to return to their homes for fear of reprisal.
So, how common was pre-poll and post-poll violence in Manipur after, in the recent years?
Not that much. As I said, there was not much of the pre-poll or post-poll violence in Manipur then. But this time we are seeing a huge, shoot up in the graph, in the violence. So definitely we are predicting that there will be some post-poll issues also. You can just, we'll see today evening. By late evening today, we'll be getting a very clear picture on this.
Okay. And which party has been who has faced most of the accusations for resorting to violent means?
See, at Hairo, the Congress is blaming the BJP. In Ukhrul, the NPF is blaming the BJP. In some place, it is the Congress who is getting blamed. It depends on the area, but someone has to blame someone. That's what's happening over here. And the BJP will be blaming the NPF in some place. And one particular community will be blaming that why you're not voting for the BJP. And another community will come and beat up because some people told us to vote for them. There are so many things which is happening here in Manipur right now.
So
there are so many things.
There is another interesting aspect that you pointed out also earlier, that Kuki People's Alliance, this newly formed party. So this is the first political party for Kuki people of Kuki
People's Alliance.
Identity. Yes.
Yeah.
So this KPA, and now they have one. They were leading in one seat for a long time. I saw. And so yeah. So overall, what have been their vote share in the rest of the seats, and how do you see their performance?
I think that it is one of the revivalism of the Kuki ethnic communities and of a community-based political party, the Kuki People's Alliance. And I think it is quite good in a way, because sometimes one gets tired of the capitalistic big national political parties where you have to say just yes sir, yes G, all right, and you can't say no, you can't put your foot down. But when you are building up a regional party, I think that is good, because then you can have some say in the assembly also, like this is what we want, this is what we demand. And this time I think they're opening they'll get at least a couple of seats. One is at Saikul, I think that is Mr. Kemnyo Haukip, I think. Yeah. The lady came from Saikul area of Kangpokpi district. So I think this is a good trend. They'll be opening their account this time.
So isn't also, there is another thing that I heard about Saikul earlier, that insurgent groups which are affiliated to the KANO, the smaller groups, they had been threatening other Kuki people in the whole of Kangpokpi district, and that to vote only for BJP, work only for BJP, otherwise they are enemy of the people. They were threatening some chief also, I heard. village chiefs,
Mhm.
tribal chiefs. So do you think that this win in Saikul, despite such intimidations, somehow reflect that the influence of underground groups is waning?
I would say that it is at rather the more of the underground organizations or so-called the people who are involved in this particular movement are getting more into electoral politics, and each have their own unique way of going about and getting themselves in this particular electoral politics. Some has their own agenda, some of their own parties, some have their leaning towards the nationalized party. There's a whole lot of different dynamics going on in here.
And do you think that behind this BJP's, it was quite expected that they will be the single largest party. Their performance and the way it was expected, do you think it has the past 5 years apparent peace has anything to do with it?
I didn't get your question.
I mean, this BJP's significantly good performance this election, as was also expected earlier in advance. Do you think this result, this has something to do with the peace of past 5 years? Past
Nothing,
5 years in Manipur has
nothing like that. Manipur, our political situation has just some leanings towards what's happening in the at the center, whose party is there at the center. You know, whatever flex, whatever color is there in the center holding power, Manipur has an inclinations to follow up on that. That is one thing, and all of the politicians want to go where the grass is greener. That's why people jumping from Congress to BJP. Of course, they'll be getting perks. They'll be getting money to, buy votes. So there is one, benefit of joining the party in power. You get to earn some money also if you become a minister. That's what the general mindset of the politicians is about. In Manipur generally are. So it's not like BJP, it's not like Congress, but it's just like sometimes depends on which party is there at the center and how much benefit I'm going to get out of the party. But here we are going for the individual. We're going for the individual. But but money makes a big difference. It can make a huge difference. Organizations can make a huge difference. You know what I'm saying over here. Because here, the valley, the hills, one common thing is the money and muscle power. We don't need anything else.
So the one last question for as of now. So since you have been covering Manipur politics for a long time, and so what is your hunch? Will Biren Singh get another chance, or can there be a surprise?
That will live when we have the numbers of all the 60 assembly constituencies, and I will be getting that by evening, and it'll depend on that, I think, whether they get the magic number or not. That remains to be seen.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us for this discussion. We will keep in touch and, of course, write more about Manipur.
Thank you so much, Bhattacharya.